For our Advanced Media Portfolio A2, we were asked in a group to develop and produce a short film no more than 5 minutes in length, incorporating necessary elements of technology and time into the narrative. To establish plot, we did a lot of research into the industry of short films and looked at real media products that are already existing that have succeeded through this medium. It became evident that it would be necessary to research the meanings behind the narratives of many of the films we watched like Telemark. To understand the codes and conventions used to establish genre within a film, we looked at several narrative theorists like Prop and Todorov, who each came up with a schema or idea of general guidelines narratives follow. Todorov believed there was a basic structure for all narratives. He believed they began with an equilibrium or a calm period, then some agent of disruption caused a disequilibrium, a problem. An attempt is then made to restore the normal, and that results in a new state of peace and harmony for the protagonist, and this is often referred to as the Hollywood narrative or the classic. Vladimir Prop's theory focuses less on the structure of the plot and more on the integral roles played by each individual character. He identified 8 evident in every narrative. He said there was always a hero, a villain, a donor, a dispatcher, a false hero, a helper, a princess, and father. There were only ever 8 according to his theory, and 31 things it could only ever do, as each has a specific sphere of action or a limited range. Our narrative involves 5 teenagers broken down in a woodland. Unable to call for anyone, they seek help from other campers who mysteriously disappear. After they begin to panic and separate, our central protagonist stumbles back upon the car to find them all dead. We've told the story only through dialogue to give a sense of realism to the narrative. We also found that, as our plot begins with a disruption to equilibrium, it does not follow Todorov's schema nor props, as there are only 5 characters. We follow the main genre of horror throughout, with incorporation of mystery through the enigma created of the setting and the disappearing campers. Horror conventions are frequent, with the isolated forest setting foreshadowing danger and the missing characters. Also, the car in which they have travelled is black, perhaps symbolic of death, and a motif throughout, with black clothing and props. Our music was specifically chosen to sound dark and sinister, with low thudding undertones reflecting of a heartbeat. Sound effects, like the woodland bird calls, give a sense of background and could be important to the understanding of the storyline, like the car screech noise. The mise-en-scene is focused mainly on the setting and its seclusion. Props are minimal but important, like the tent representative of other people in the woods. Editing helps to make the story flow, as we have used follow-on footage. At some instances, like during the girls' argument, we have taken several shots from various angles, ensuring it is linear. There are no fast-paced jump cuts to allow the audience to slowly piece together events, and close-ups used add important ideas, like of the watch shown the same time constantly throughout, and Floriana's reaction to this. The only quick shots used are of the bodies in the car to add tension and surprise. It is from these shots that we have developed ordinary conventions of a horror genre film, making it scary and aiming to frighten the audience. However, due to its slow climax and lack of audio on-shot matching loud noises like bangs, it has challenged the norm of a horror film, instead using slow reaction shots to develop narrative. Like the film, the poster and magazine article also incorporate many codes and conventions expected of a horror film, yet also challenge them. We recognise them of this genre immediately through font and colour. After analysing posters of pre-existing horror films of a similar narrative twist, like The Sixth Sense or the others, it was evident the colour scheme was a muted one, with dark, ominous shadows and a sinister font. My poster is reflecting of this, using grey hues and dark, shadowy images in the background. The font looks like it has been inscribed into a tree, incorporating the theme for isolation in nature. The majority of the text is at the bottom of the poster. The title, central and large, black, with the tagline, "Will you go down to the woods today?" underneath. It adds an extremely sinister element, as it is reminiscent of the children's nursery rhyme in a horror setting. The article's central focus is the background image, a still shot taken from film footage. It is a low-angle shot showing the black gaunt trees across the sky and is a haunting image. The title of the article, "We Went Down to the Woods Today," links clearly to the poster as well as the film, and adds a humour element to the eerie image. Language throughout is often colloquial, and most likely to be publicised in a magazine like NME, Wild 36-year-olds. It is set out in columns with a modern mode of address, for example, photos alongside text of film footage. For this reason, it clearly is reflecting of an already existing article marketing a film of this genre, due to horror stylised font and a classic layout format. However, no pull quotes are used, and its setup could be considered to be of a much more personal tone. It is informal and jokey, without specialised horror lexis, unusual for an article advertising a horror genre film.